welcome to teen service on this Thursday afternoon, actually evening now, but some of us are getting ready for church here in about 45 minutes. Maybe you're watching while you get ready, and we're all going to stand together. You could sit or get ready together while we sing our first song.
Amen. Let's go ahead and sing together, Battle Hymn of the Republic. We'll sing 2 verses. Lyrics will be on the screen for us to follow along. Let's sing it out together on that first verse. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. On the last verse, in the Jesus Christ was born across the sea, with the glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us live to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. While God is marching on.
All right, we got a few announcements. First off, because of our schedule change for our Thursday evening service, we're going to be pushing teen service back just a bit to 6 o'clock, from 6 to 6:30. Give us a little bit more time to get to church on time. Also, our 2 sermons for this week, both of them by my dad. I guess we got our Vimeo back up, Brother Jeremy. So one's called The Lord's Values, and the next one is God's Vision. We actually finished up our that little program that we had going for our Walk with God. So we've got all of our winners. Here are the winners, not for all 3 tiers, but I just have our winners for our top tier. And they are as follows. Anna Pineda, Ashley Ross, Seth Brawl, Brad Esposito, Abigail Esposito, Kanchana Chow, Manirat Chow, Suwani, Priscilla, Lydia, Juvia, Kristen, and Kelly. And if for some reason you think you should be on there and you're not, feel free to contact me. But those are going to be our winners who at some point in time, when restaurants open back up, we're going to be eating with Pastor. And we're going to continue on with our Philippians verses for that. And we're going to move on to our game time. Brother Ross, you said we got $2 bills again?
I got something. Tell him to come see me.
Brother Ross said if you're the winner, come see him at church this evening and he'll get you your prize. So we just got through 3 quick questions, some more PVC trivia, picking up where we left off last week. But first of all, who was our first high school youth pastor? When the church first started, my dad kind of took hold of the teens, but when we officially got a high school youth pastor, who was our first high school youth pastor? And we're going to do the second text in. Okay, perfect. So who was our first, not our first youth pastor, but our first official high school youth pastor once my dad handed over the reins to somebody here in our church? We can just do the first person to text it in. And someone texted in that it was Brother Ross. It was a good try. He was our first junior high youth pastor about the same time. All right. Kristen Ross said it was Pastor Myers. So she got that one there. Moving on to our next question. Can someone text in, where was our first church service held? A state-of-the-art facility somewhere here in Long Beach. Where was our first church service, Pacific Baptist Church history? Brother Jeremy said don't cheat by going to the church website and our history. I think by the time you do that, it will probably be passed on with that. We had someone with a notable guess on Anaheim and Raymond, but that was incorrect.
It was on Anaheim.
That would be. Okay, Juvia texted in. It was at MacArthur Park, correct, Brother Ross? I wasn't alive at that time, so I couldn't tell you for sure. And now we're going to do our last question for today. How many years have we been at our current location? And to give us a hint here, our upcoming seniors this year was the year that they were born. Many of them were born. Yeah, maybe it was the year before a few of them were born. So how many years ago, did we move into our current location here on Magnolia and Wardlow? All right, so Eugene Wong, I would assume that's Aaron or Ella. Whichever one of you it is, we can talk to Brother Ross tonight, and we'll get that. It was 17 years ago. And at this time, we've got a skit for you. All right, thank you for that video, Brother Ross. Very helpful. That would be a good habit to live by, and Bud definitely doesn't make you wiser. This time, we're going to have a special.
Can you see Brother Dan? Good evening. How you doing? Just have Brother Dan here. He's sitting on the hot seat right now. Gonna do a couple questions for Brother Dan. Brother Dan, 17 years ago. How old were you, Brother Dan?
7.
You're 7 years old. So the first time you came to our church here, you were 7 years old. Is that right?
Yeah, I was in 2nd grade when we moved to this location.
Great. Now, Brother, I remember when he was born. One thing about Brother Dan, I think it was Brother Dan, his sister, Brother Tim. Who else was there? Oh, Benjamin. Oh, big time Benjamin. You guys always sported the big old heads. And then you grew into them, so that was good. I'm kidding.
Big brains typically come in big heads.
That's right. It'd be good if some of these guys use it sometime. But kidding about that. You know, I'm proud of Brother Dan and proud of him as a teenager. Brother Dan, growing up here in church, and by the way, I'm going to ask him this, and there's some advice here, maybe that you can get or you can keep. What helped you the most as a teenager as far as your relationship with the Lord, number one, and then your relationship with your parents? What are some key factors? First, your relationship with the Lord.
Probably the biggest thing that helped me in my relationship with the Lord, my 7th grade year in our school, I was in my brother Joseph's Bible class, and it seemed like every class period, he would have a topic to teach on, and somehow on that topic, he could be talking about dressing right, and then he'd land back on the topic of walk with God. He could be talking about, Baptist history. It didn't matter what he talked about. He always veered back to our relationship with God. And he just mentioned the importance of consistency in our walk with God. And I remember sitting there as a 7th grader, and he would say, you just need to decide from here going forward, you're not going to miss in your daily Bible time, your daily prayer time. And as a sixth grader, I was super spotty. Seventh grader, I was super spotty in my walk with God. And in that Bible class, I decided, I'm not going to miss. And I say from that time until now, I haven't missed a day. I could miss tomorrow, but I haven't missed since then.
Well, let me ask you this, Brother Dan. As far as sometimes teenagers, they think, man, for me to walk with God, I need to read the Bible and pray. And, we hear preachers, man, I prayed for hours and hours and hours. And I read 500 chapters today. And, of course, the key is consistency. But, did you spend hours and hours with the Lord as an 8th grader, 9th grader?
As a 7th and 8th grader, I did my proverb of the day.
Okay.
It took about maybe, 5-10 minutes max.
Yeah. One chapter, 5 or 10 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
and that's good. But, sometimes as teenagers we think, man, when a pastor preaches and teaches and talks about walk with God, you think of some preachers and stuff. No, a walk with God is your consistent relationship with God. And you could start that as a teenager. I remember growing up and I would hear pastors, they would preach. And Brother Dan, they would say, man, I stay up all night and I read my Bible and I pray. So I wanted to stay up all night and read my Bible and pray. And then another preacher would come, Brother Dan, he said, man, I wake up at early in the morning. And I would get up and I would read my Bible and I would pray. And as a teenager, guess what I did? Early in the morning, I would get up and read my Bible and go back to sleep while I'm trying to pray. But one thing I did not understand, where these preachers did not tell me, was the guy that stayed up real late at night to walk with God, he didn't have to wake up early in the morning. And the guy that woke up early in the morning, they went to sleep super early in the evening. So it doesn't matter what time it is. What matters is your time is consistent with the Lord. And start small. You don't have to start big. Start small, but be consistent. And don't read just for information, but read for inspiration. Let God speak to you. And when you did your prayer life as a teenager, what helped you the most?
So I was consistent in my Bible reading from 7th grade to about 9th or 10th grade. I still am, by the way. But actually my prayer life was kind of non-existent. And I remember Brother Chim teaching us on prayer. And it was actually a speech class, and he took the whole semester talking about prayer. But I decided that I was going to be consistent. I wrote up he taught us how to write up a little prayer list. It wasn't anything special. It was just a short little prayer list. And when I would do my Bible time, I would also pray through that prayer list.
Okay, so there is the if you will, the secret right there is having a prayer list. And that's where I was going to get at. You just can't just sit down and pray and expect to have a time where, man, I'm just going to call fire from heaven. Be methodical. Get a piece of paper out, or now you can type it, and pray for, make a list. Pray for your family. Pray for God's power. Pray for different things in your life. And if you list those things down and list it right, and just have that prayer list, you'll be surprised, teenagers, that, when you pray, it's not just, Lord, bless today and bless my mom and dad and be with me, amen. You're like, man, that was so hard to pray. You would see that if you're prepared, when you go speak with God, you'll have more time. And your relationship with God would be, and your conversations with God would be a lot sweeter. Oftentimes, and you got to understand, Brother Dan, you probably understand, a lot of times when kids are dating, teenagers, or not teenagers, I'm sorry, when you're of age and you're ready to get married and you start carrying on a relationship with the person of the opposite gender. Has that happened to you yet, Brother Dan?
It has.
It has. Okay, so Brother Dan, it has. Well, what's her name? She have a name?
Yeah, her name's Cassie.
Cassie, and she's related to Sean, right? Is she related to Sean, the NBA player?
No, sir.
That played for the Seattle Supersonic. They call him the Rain Man. What was that?
Yeah, the governor more so.
Okay,
Yes,
I was thinking about Sean Kemp, but anyhow, that's before politics and sports got involved with each other. So now, when I was dating my wife, and sometimes I would be excited to talk to her. You excited to talk to
Yes,
her?
sir.
You're excited, okay? And that's how it is. You get excited. Brother Daniel Bowen back there, he'll experience it one day when some blind girl decide to like him, or mentally retarded. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not kind. A person of, how do you say it politically correct?
Distinct taste.
Okay. And you know what? Your heart starts beating. Boop, 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 boop. And you talk to the person you're interested in, and you have the green light to start carrying on a relationship, and you have a lot of things to talk about. But as that relationship carries on, guess what? You've talked about everything already that you're supposed to talk about. So what do? You have to start planning. And that's what I did.
Oh, yeah, I do the same.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say, if you didn't do that, I was going to give you some tips. Have a plan on what you're going to talk about, because if you don't plan what you're going to talk about,
a lot of silence, yes.
And by the way, sometimes dating people are like that. You just want to hear each other breathe.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird. But I got into that game,
Okay.
and I played it very successfully. But you don't want to do that. So you write things down on what you're going to say, and and you have a plan. The same thing, Brother Dan, I'm thinking you talk to Miss Cassie every minute, every day, once a week.
What I do on the phone twice a week.
Twice a week. FaceTime or just
one FaceTime and then one.
Oh my! Woo! So, all right, Brother Dan. Brother Dan's getting a little bit. This is getting a little personal here. And
very much so.
Yes. I can't even believe he's just answering these 500 people here in the chapel. Brother Daniel Bowen's taking notes. He's recording this. He's taking note. It's like, man, I'm be of age soon. How old are you, Brother Daniel? 18. How much longer before you're 25? So that'd be 7 years. Oh, you'll be 19. Okay, so 6 years. I got married when I was 25, so you could get married earlier. Who knows? You gotta. What's that? Oh, you know what? By the looks of it, you might reach that. I'll have you talk to a guy in our church. His name is Brother Vinny. He can help you with that. Sorry, Brother Vinny, didn't want to say that. I'm just roasting people today. Just wrong. So, Brother Dan, basically getting back here to walking with God. The same thing with your anything planned. You've got to plan your walk with God. Write things down. Spend some time. Have a prayer list. Now, going back to that's your relationship with the Lord. That's one of the most important. What was the most important relationship, or what did you do to have a good relationship? Because one thing growing up, I was around Brother Dan's family a lot. I was around them a lot, especially in the earlier days when it was just Pastor, Miss Mary, Pastor Esposito, Miss Mary, Joseph, Tim, Sarah, and Sue. When there were 6 of them, I used to live with you guys.
That was before our family's breakthrough moment.
Yes. They kicked me out of. They had a bunch of guys live with them, and I helped Pastor do that. And always had a close family, and envied that. And I try to model my family after Pastor Esposito's family, of course, Pastor Meyer's family. But what did you do as a teenager? I'm pretty sure your dad was proactive in having a good relationship with you, but a relationship sometimes gets 2 ways. Knowing your dad was pretty rough sometimes. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
He was rough sometimes. And knowing your dad, sometimes Pastor Esposito come tell me, Nate, what are you doing? Why are you hanging out with that crowd? Okay, I shouldn't. Nope. Okay, gotcha. I'm pretty sure there have been times where you did that. And sometimes, I allowed my leaders. I didn't have a dad. Pastor Esposito and Pastor Myers were kind of helping me out and supplying that figure for me. But sometimes I didn't understand things, and sometimes they would kind of wound my spirit a little bit. I wouldn't say wound my spirit. I allowed them to wound my spirit. But I got a little, like anybody, I got a little bit bent out of shape. Has that ever happened to you?
Once or twice.
That you were upset at maybe your mom and dad and your relationship kind of hindered a little bit. But what kind of kept everything as a teenager? what kind of help?
I'd say two things. Probably one thing that helped me out a lot. I remember in chapel services, Brother Ross would get up there. He'd always start by trying to make the singing exciting and sing like 10 songs. It was always the same thing for chapel.
I just didn't have anything to preach.
Yeah, anything to preach. Well, you're waiting for that to come to you. But one thing Brother Ross has said, I heard him say it through my teen years and also into college. He'd always say, young people, by the way, young people, look up here. And he'd always snap. He'd say, be smart enough to know you're dumb. And I was kind of a know-it-all, smart-aleck kid as a teenager, shameful to admit. And sometimes I thought I knew better than my parents. I thought I knew better than the leaders at school. One thing actually you taught me, Brother Ross, was we have to be smart enough to know that we're dumb. Know that the people who've gone before us, whether our parents or different leaders God's placed in our life, that they know more than we do. They've already been in their teen years, into their adult years. So I'd say that's one thing, just realizing they know more than us. And then also, like you mentioned, obviously my parents pursued me. I have the world's greatest parents, I believe. But also, like you said, it's a two-way street. Now I know specifically with my dad, it's a little different. He's not necessarily pursuing me because of where he's at, but I intentionally try and go and show him pictures of what I'm doing with my day, what I've been up to, kind of share maybe some ministry highlights from the week. But I think as your parents pursue you, or even if your parents don't pursue you, it's you going out there and trying to pursue that relationship with your parents.
Good. I have a couple more things to ask you, but we're almost out of time. I need to read a verse here, and Brother Dan needs to go pick up some kids for church. So you can go, Brother Dan, and we'll get that. Thank you, Brother Dan. Brother Dan's a blessing. He helps out in the teen ministry immensely. If you have your Bibles, Hebrews chapter 2, I'm going to read one verse here. I got about 3 minutes, and I want to challenge you with this. The Bible says, therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard. Now, Paul is writing here, and you have to see these verses here as he is writing and as he challenges us. He says, therefore, we. The word we talks about me and you. It talks about us. When he talks about we here, he's talking to the saved people. He's not talking to the unsaved people. He's talking to the Christians. He says, therefore, we ought to give not just the earnest heed. He puts I don't know what you call it, an adjective. I want to say an adverb. This is the adverb. To give the more earnest heed. Not just the earnest heed, but the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard. So he's talking here to Christians. He says, hey, guys, be careful. You got to, he says, make sure you heed, just more earnest heed to the things which you have heard, lest at any time, here's the word again, we, meaning Christians, we should let them slip. Now let me say this. The likelihood of us slipping is real. The likelihood of you slipping is real. The likelihood of me slipping is real. The Bible says, be careful when we stand, lest we fall. It says, be careful. And by the way, let me say this, teenagers. Are we slipping? This summer, it has been the craziest summer that I've ever experienced. The craziest year. 2020 has been odd. And if we're not careful, Paul says here, you're going to be slipping. As a teenager, I was walking around, and when you say, hey, why are you slipping, that means, I guess it doesn't mean you step on a banana and you slip. It means something else, I guess, in the modern dictionary. But I want to challenge you. This summer, maybe you let some things slip in your life. Get back up, and let's start making good habits. And the good habits that Brother Dan was talking about today is spending time with the Lord, loving your parents. Those are some things that we should never let slip in our lives. I want to challenge you to do that. We're getting ready for church here, and we're going to get some winners here. You want to do it? If you come by, people, just pick some. Mrs. Rawl, why don't you go over there? Just go over there and pick 2 names, and then come by. I got a T-shirt for you, or whatever's in my office. Give me 2 names, Mrs. Rawl, for the winners this week. Suwani. Make sure you text in, and Aaron Wong. Suwani and Aaron Wong, make sure you see me, and I got a small gift for you guys also. All right, we'll see you in church. God bless.